Well, hello everyone. Well, I finally did it. I made a mistake. When I was uploading chapter 234, my little doggy kids project video that I uploaded last night, I accidentally deleted chapter 233. And since apparently there are ways to recover it from Google, I I don't know. When I look at the videos and then look at what I see on my computer, as normal with me and computer stuff, it's different. So, other than the fact, like I still have the video on my computer, so I could re-upload it. That's not a huge deal. But I guess I lost the 350 odd views that I had on it. So, if you watch chapter 233 and you think you could tolerate just clicking on it and maybe doing housework while you're doing it, I'd appreciate that. But I'm going to repost it. And yes, unfortunately, it's those things are lost. But every time I make a mistake, I learn something. So I guess an education is never cheap. So I usually say all you have to do is stay tuned, but you've already done that for this one. So the rest of the video will continue as it was originally. Thank you. Well, yes, that is true. Today I'm going to start milling the gable ends for my base cabinets. Now, what I did is I probably spent about 6 weeks or so trying to prepare my table saw router grouping here to be able to make it so that I could pick up a gable end and do all the machining in it. But you know what? I don't think that's going to be possible. I shouldn't say that. Possible, yes. Practical, yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I'll just show you what I've got. Like, yes, and I will show you a mock-up of a gable end very quickly here that I can show you exactly what cuts I'm making. But I thought that I would just go through this a bit first. So over there, I have a regular 10-inch blade in that unisaw and a regular fence. And I don't want to. I could maybe make this work if I move my dado head over there. But I want to be able to keep a saw, an accurate saw, that I can cut something if I need to. For example, if I make a mistake or something or whatever, I've learned when I make something, I like to have the capability to go back and make a cut or two because I may have forgot something. That is certainly a possibility. So that one's going to stay the way it is. This one over here, this router has a 1/4 inch straight bit in it, which is going to be used to put the slot in for the back of the cabinet. Now, I have a feeling that next time I'm in Saskatoon, we're going to go pick up a 3/16 bit because that's really what that material is. And maybe a 1/4 inch is good enough. I don't know. I'll figure that out yet. But I need this fence over there to run that groove. But if I take this fence away from here, I can't run any of the grooves that I would on my dado head. And I'm liking the idea the more and more I worked with this yesterday, trying to set things up, the more I like the idea of cutting the grooves on the dado head. Because with shims, I can make the dado head perfect, but a router bit, I can't. So anyway, the initial plan was to put the back in over there, the bottom shelf, and the groove for the toe kick over here. And over there, I have another router with a 3/4 inch bit set in it. And I was hoping to use that to make the back supports where it gets screwed onto the wall. There's a 3/4 rabbet in the back a stopped rabbet from the top and from the bottom so that I can put pieces in and then the plywood goes over and it all gets mounted to the wall. So that's how I plan to do this, but obviously it's not going to work. So I suspected it may not work when I did this all, but the nice thing is everything works. Like my neighbor, the electrician, came down and we wired everything. All the routers turn on with the flip of a switch. Table saws all work properly. It's amazing. No cord on the floor anymore that I'd always trip over. So that's going to be really good. But the alternate plan, probably what it would have been, is putting the gables in pairs and then running one cut, setting it aside, one cut, setting it aside, and doing that till all of them are done. I don't know if that's going to cost more time, but I'm not exactly working for wages anyway, so really doesn't matter. This is going to go kind of the way I'd like it to. So I think what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to show you what this is going to look like. Now, unfortunately, I'm not doing this on a regular cabinet side, so you can't see this in perfect scale. But I just took one of the offcuts from like when I took an 8 foot piece, ripped it to 23 and 3/4 inches. I took two 35-inch pieces out of there, and what was left is going to become bottom shelf. But it's also, I'm going to take couple pieces of that to experiment and to set tools. So I have one that I've been playing with, so I'd like to show that to you. Well, this is my gable end mock-up. It should be about 10 inches, 9 inches, sorry, 9 inches longer. Like I said, this is a leftover piece, but the width is right. So it the length doesn't make any difference for me to scope this out. So I'm hoping that it'll be okay for you as well. So I made a few pieces here to help you see what I'm going to be doing. So let's get started at the bottom here at the toe kick. So there's going to be a 4-inch toe kick here, 4x3, which I think is pretty much standard. And the bottom shelf is going to go in like this, and the toe kick itself will actually go into a groove like that. Glue it in, and it'll be solid. Okay, I like dado joinery anyway. So that's going to go in there like that. Now, I made this piece, I believe it's 4.5 inches, because first of all, there's a 1/4 inch going into the groove here. And I wanted the bottom of the shelf to be 4.25 inches from the floor. Now, what that's going to do is when I make this, the dado for this piece, it's going to make sure that the dado has 3 sides, okay, a top and a bottom and a back, all the way along. If I move it down a 1/4 inch, the the groove will only have 2 sides, a top and a side. I hope you understand what I mean by that. And the other thing that that's going to do, though, is that's going to make that bottom style that I'm going to put on, or the cap, a 1/4 inch cap of oak on the front, it's going to make that a 1/4 inch deeper, which I have no problem with on the bottom of the cabinets. I think that's going to be just fine. Plus, I think it's a little stronger. Not that you really need that much strength in a set of cabinets, because really they're holding up the countertop, the dishes, and then maybe when you climb on the countertop at times. But lateral load, there isn't terribly much on cabinets. So anyway, there's going to be a 1/4 inch groove going in here, going all the way along. And then this piece is going to set in the bottom shelf. It's going to be flush with the front, like flush with here, and the toe kick will go in like that. Okay? All right. So then we're coming to the back side here. Now, this is maybe a little overkill, but that's just the way I roll. So this piece is going to be grooved into the back. So just like this, the dado or the bottom of the rabbet will line up perfectly. And this part goes below the cabinet, but I don't want to put a groove in there because it gets complicated, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But there is going to be a piece going in the bottom like that this shelf will sit on. So this shelf is going to be quite meatily installed. Okay, if that's a word. All right. So that's what's going to happen down here. The same thing is going to happen here. This piece is going to go on like that. It's, what is that, 6 inches? This is 10 inches. And there's going to be a piece going on the top like that. But notice I didn't put those two pieces together because they won't actually be together because there's going to be a 1/4 inch back piece, pre-finished 1/4 inch birch plywood going in from top to bottom. And I'll do that at the bitter end, I believe, and just slide it all in. Maybe I'll wait with putting those inside pieces in until it's in, but it'll go in, and I don't need to leave it out like I did on my towel cabinet because this is all pre-finished and I don't have to spray in here, so that's awesome. Yeah, but there's going to be a 1/4 inch piece of plywood going in the back here, so when you look in the cabinet, all of this stuff is covered. All you'll see is a smooth birch pre-finished surface. So that's what I would also like. Okay, so now that we know what's happening here, this piece here is to attach the cabinet onto the countertop. Now, I would guess that this will just get siliconed on because we are going with granite counter. That reminds me, I need to stop at Michelangelo's one day and talk with them about a few things. But for right now, I can just keep rolling. Okay, so we've got the back, the fastening to the wall, the fastening of the countertop, and the bottom shelf in. Then we go to the front corner where there's going to also be some shelf attachment capability. But this piece here will be a 3/4 by 2 inch piece of solid oak because this will be visible when the drawers and the doors are done. So that needs to be oak. And that's basically it. So I'm cutting 3/4 inch groove. I guess I could cut one for the toe kick too. And I don't know if I'm going to bother because that's going to get cut yet. Anyway, there's going to be a 3/4 inch groove here, a stopped 3/4 inch groove, sorry, 3/4 inch dado here, stopped 3/4 inch groove here and here, and here, and here, and that's about it. So there is quite a bit of machining to do in each gable end. Now, luckily, there are no shelf pinholes because we aren't putting any shelving in the bottom. Shelving in cabinets, I just don't think it's a good idea. So we're not going to do that. But, oh, and then there's a 1/4 inch groove here. So I think what I'm going to do now, and this is what I'm talking about right now, but as I start setting things up and getting into this, I may in fact change my mind yet too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some of these cuts, see how everything works, and then go from there. So we'll maybe talk to you when I've got the grooves cut. Well, I made all the grooves in my test gable, and I'll show you what I came up with. Just going to move all my test pieces out of the way here. I changed my mind considerably. And as I got going, I realized that, well, first of all, I realized that I may have a problem with the way my cords are routed because, but I think I can work around it. But the one thing I noticed from doing my prototype is that the dado head is the way to go. It's just way faster. And so I started out by putting this one in, cutting the dado for the lower shelf. That worked really good. And then initially I had thought of putting a stopped rabbet here in the back, stopped here and stopped here. I did that and I looked at it. And then, okay, you got the curve that comes up, and you got to either chisel that off or slope this piece. Well, that's extra work, and if you chisel it out, it's extra handwork, which is tedious. And then I was going to cut a groove next to it anyway. So finally, what I did is I just cut a rabbet down this whole side. So that way, these can go in. There's no extra work here. And the top, the same thing, no extra work. And there's only a few inches here in the middle. Well, okay, add 9 inches to this. So there's going to be considerably more in the actual cabinet. And then I went on and went over to that router there and made this route for the toe kick. That actually worked pretty good. I might need to get a different bit or whatever, but that worked okay. But I have to remember also that, excuse me, I'm just going to grab my pencil here, that this is all coming out. So from here to there, that's all gone. So I guess this back edge here is useful. So I think we're going to leave it there. And I haven't cut the groove at the bottom shelf yet. That's one thing that'll get done when I work on those pieces. But okay, so the toe kick groove is cut with that router over there, the one that I just got up and running, the last one here. And then I had the same dilemma on the very top. Like if I just would cut all the way through, um, then I don't have to do any handwork up there. And realistically, that doesn't affect anything. Like if I wanted to look different, I guess what I could do is go to in old style cabinets they had what were called web frames, and I could put a web frame in the top if that would help. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. But I know I am going to cut that all the way through. It's not worth the time it takes to take a router and run that and then chop the ends or round the other piece so it matches. It's just a lot of extra work for absolutely no value, in my opinion. So the only problem I haven't quite sorted out yet is this here, because this piece is going to be solid wood and it needs to go in there, but it'll also be butting up to the 1/4 inch oak that's on the front here. And I'd like that joint to be like this. So I need to figure that out yet. It might just be a simple butt joint. That I now that I mention that, that might just be the way it is. So and what else? I think and then the back sheet, the 1/4 inch that's going in the back here. Okay, well then I should have been over at this bit here, and the more I thought about it, first of all, I can't get the exact size bit. And secondly, if I just go over here to my dado head and cut where this inside line will be, everything will stack up and it'll be tight. Oops. It'll be tight in here, which is what I want. Now, with an extra 9 inches, this gap opens up to be about, I don't know, probably about 18 inches. That would leave this unsupported here. Well, you know what? If I really think it's necessary, and I doubt I will, I can just take some glue blocks and rub them in there and be done with it. But I think that for what I'm hoping to achieve, this makes things a lot simpler than what I initially planned to do. So I guess the only advice I'd want you to take away from this is if you are a little bit unsure as to how to get everything going, do a prototype. You know, yeah, this isn't quite full size. It would have been better full size, but I didn't want to waste a Gable piece on this. So now I know exactly what to do. I've got my saw set up perfectly. The router, I'd really like to get a different bit for this groove here because as you can see the black in there, that bit isn't very good. And, that would be a good thing to do. So anyway, I think now all I need to do is cut all the gable ends. And like I said, there's no interior shelving, so there's no shelf holes to drill, none of that stuff. So I think once I get the saw up and running, this should go relatively quickly now that I've kind of figured out what I want to do. So okay, well, I'm tired of looking up at you. Let's finish this video off in a more comfortable position. Well, now you can see what I'm planning to do. Uh, I can't I can't overestimate the importance of generating a prototype. Unless this is something you do for a living or you're doing a lot of it that you know and you don't have to do it. Yeah, I built a set of cabinets back there. And these are actually quite similar, but the back is different. There's a few subtle differences in that one. So having that prototype allowed me, or sorry, making that prototype allowed me to simplify my process, which is going to make this go faster. So I think what's going to happen is probably tomorrow, it'll be a little later in the day by the time I get this edited and sent out. Tomorrow I'll leave the saws set up, come here in the morning and start cutting sheets, start making the grooves, making everything right. And we'll end up doing that. So that should it'll take a bit of time, but that should go fairly well. Now I know exactly what I'm doing. So with that in mind, it's a little bit odd that I'm planning to edit a video on a Monday evening. We didn't have Easter with our family here last week. They want to come out Saturday, so that bumps everything up a little bit. Excuse me. And that's why we're just doing this a bit earlier. So, and then Wednesday we're teaching again, and so yeah, it all kind of gets compressed. But anyway, I think this is going to go pretty good. If anybody out there knows of a supply of pre-finished 5/8 Baltic birch, leave me a message because I haven't been able to track that down, and I'd sure like to have that pre-finished as well. That would really make this build go a lot faster. So with that in mind, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I haven't even been keeping track of the subscribers lately. I've been so busy with other things. Like I said in the last video, I went and picked up that scroll saw, which is kind of exciting. Eventually we'll start working on that, but it's going to be a while. And I didn't show you any cuts on my cabinet project today because then the video just gets so much longer. So, but I will probably show you assembly, and that'll be the next thing. And we'll just keep going. And when it's done, it's done. So anyway, like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Have an awesome rest of the week, and we will see you with the weekend edition.